Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vivian. If this is your first time watching this channel, please like, comment, subscribe, and I have other videos that you can watch as well. This is just gonna be a review, a reaction to a documentary that I watched on Netflix, which is called The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. It's about a little boy. Kind of had a rough upbringing, and if you haven't watched it yet, you may want to log off and not watch this video until you watch it. But for those of you who've watched the documentary already, then this video is for y'all. It's about an 8-year-old boy who died. He was beaten to death, and for 8 months he was being abused by his mom and her boyfriend. When he was born, the mom didn't want him at all. She didn't want to have nothing to do with him. Other family members didn't want to have nothing to do with him. But one of his uncles took him in along. His uncle was gay. He had a partner. They both raised him until when he was about 4 years old. The mom, it was somebody who reported that they were molesting the little boy, which that wasn't true. So he got taken away. And then at one point his grandparents were raising him. And then all of a sudden the mom wanted him back. But the only reason why she wanted her child back was because of money, welfare. But when he went back to them, this boy was abused like almost every day. They kept him in a box, almost like a little cardboard, almost like a cabinet almost. They kept him in there. They would handcuff him, beat him. Come to find out, they would feed him cat litter. Things like that. Just horrible. Just horrible. I couldn't finish the documentary because it was so much. I'm still at a loss for words. I've been crying almost every day. Like every time I see this little boy's face, I cry. It was, oh Lord, it was just horrible. This boy was abused by his own mother and her boyfriend. Like, how could you abuse your child? And mind you, she had 3. He was like the only one that was being abused. The only one she would take it out on. Her and the boyfriend. And it's just sad, he would come to school. Even the teacher had to testify because, they went to trial. The teacher had to testify. And it all started, he went to her and he asked her if it was normal to get beat by, with a belt. But then he started telling the teacher, well, he would get whipped by the belt, but with the iron part. So that's when she reported it. And the social worker that was assigned to the case, that's another thing. They only made matters worse. They really didn't do anything. Like the signs were there. Like, how could you not see this little boy having bruises and everything? Like, the signs were obvious. I just don't see how the social worker would go there and not see it. But it's like it was just making it worse. And the teacher even said how he would always tell her, you know, will you tell that lady again? Will you tell that lady again? And you tell her. Like, he honestly thought by having that social worker coming, like, it was making things better. It wasn't. Like, they were abusing him each time. And I mean, one day she said he came in the classroom. His eye was just, one of his eyes was like bloodshot red. Like, you could tell he had been hit in the eye. Even his classmates would see that. And it's just sad. That little boy had to go through all of that. But the part that really hit me hard was when a teacher started talking about how they had to do a Mother's Day project. And he made this booklet, like this card for her, his mom, with his picture on it, and just saying how his mom is beautiful and things like that. And like, no matter what, he still loved his mom. No matter how many times his mom was beating him, her and the boyfriend, he still loved his mom. Like, when it got to that part with the Mother's Day card, I lost it. I couldn't watch it anymore. Like, it's just horrible. And he even put in there, like, Mom, I'll be good. You know? And one of his classmates, she was like, they had this award ceremony where he got a certificate for, you know, reading and things like that. I think he had got an A for reading. And he was just so sad because his mom wasn't even there. Wasn't even there to witness it. Like, it's just sad. And it's just horrible. Horrible. That boy had to suffer like that. You know, it's just, how could you just beat your own child? How can you abuse your own child, let alone let somebody else abuse your own child? You know, as women, you know, as mothers, you're supposed to be protective of your children. You know, mothers are nurturing, more nurturing than fathers. You know, fathers are taught to be, you know, tough, show that tough love, discipline. But mothers supposed to be nurturing and very protective of children. And it's just unfortunate that he had to deal with all of that. And he died from that. And it was at one point he would come to school and the teacher was like, he would just take it out on everybody because he was so angry. I guess because nobody was listening. Nobody was helping him. Anyway, one boy, he was even crying not to leave school. He was even crying not to get on the bus to go home. He didn't want to go home. And then in the documentary was even said that when the sheriffs would even go over there to his home, they would tell him, you know, if you keep lying like this, like the sheriffs didn't even believe him. Like, the social workers did nothing. Nothing. They lost their jobs, but they didn't get punished more. Come to find out they didn't go to jail, but they lost their job. You know, and the mom, she got life with no parole, which I feel like she should have had the death penalty. The boyfriend was sentenced to death. They both should have been sentenced to death, in my opinion. It was just horrible. Like, every time I look at this little boy's face, it's just so innocent. Children are just so innocent. They're fragile. They're so innocent, so loving, so special. And to do that to a child is just horrible. It's horrible. Every time I look at this little boy's face, like, it's just horrible. It is so horrible. And I hate to say this, but I hope the mom and the boyfriend burn in hell. I'm sorry, I hate to be like that, but that child went through so much. The teacher, she tried her best. She tried. She reported it. Unfortunately, the social workers did nothing. They did nothing but collect a check and go home. That's it. It did nothing. And for the guy who did the autopsy on the little boy, he said it took him 2 days to identify all the bruises on this child. They even found the cat litter inside him. It's just unfortunate that little boy had to go through all of that. It is really affecting me. Like today, I cried all day. Just about all day. Like, I was just emotional, just thinking about that. Just thinking about everything today. Like, just about life. I was really emotional. They got females who would do anything to have a child. Unfortunately, they tried everything. Can't bear a child. Things like that. They would do anything to be a mother. And you got this woman who had children and was just horrible, a monster. It's just unfortunate. She didn't love her child. She only wanted her child back for money, for a check. But he's in a better place. Unfortunately, he hates to say that, but he's in a better place. He's no longer suffering. He's in God's hands now. And it's just sad that he took all of that. Just imagine that child being so afraid to sleep or do anything. How can you just do that to your child? I just don't understand some people. How can you abuse a child? And no matter how much she would abuse him and her boyfriend, he still loved her. He still loved her. He still loved her. No matter what. I hope she burned in hell. I hope he burned in hell too. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. They need to have a painful death. God forgive me for saying that. But the way that child suffered, I hope both of them have a painful death. And that's just how I feel about it. Some of y'all may feel different. But I do think they need to burn in hell. They need to burn in hell. Have a slow, painful death. I'm sorry. They both should. She should have the death penalty. Her too. She got life without parole. She probably pled guilty. I would have still gave her the death penalty. That's just horrible. That's just horrible. A little innocent child. An innocent little boy. It's just horrible. And nobody did anything. The cops, the social workers, nobody did anything. The teacher tried her best. Some of y'all may think that she tried her best. She would report it. She tried. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. And for that boy to be beaten to death. And then when they showed the picture of his body in court, it's just horrible. He had burns. He had cuts, bruises. He had a fractured skull. They found BB gun pellets inside him. It's just horrible. It has really affected me. Because for 2 days, that's all I do is think about that. It's horrible. Just horrible. If you're not fit to be a parent, you know, if you just don't have any. It's just horrible. And I just wanted to do this video just to get my thoughts out about it. That was the documentary. Again, after the Mother's Day, I couldn't watch it anymore. I was just done. I was done. It's just sad. I could never do that to a child. I think about my nieces and my nephews. Like, I could never do that to them. It's just horrible. And that's all I have to say about this video. Just giving my thoughts about it. If those of y'all who have watching this, I'm sorry. If y'all haven't watched this before, this is for the ones who watched it, and I'm just giving y'all my thoughts. But it's the trial of Gabriel Fernandez. That's the name of the little boy. You can watch it on Netflix. I'm telling y'all, all day today, it just tore me. And I just thought about life today. You know, it's just horrible. So, that's all I have to say about it. And my thought is, they both need to burn in hell. Rot in hell. And I hope they die of a slow, painful death. They're gonna get what's coming to them. For what they did to that little boy, they're gonna get what's coming to them. God don't sleep. They're gonna pay for it. What being in the pen, that's nothing. They both should have had the death penalty. I hope they have a painful death. And that's all I have to say. And I'm out. Bye, y'all.